The best companies in the world, the more you look at them, the more you like them.
Nick, Qiao, hi, it's great to have you here.
Great to be here.
Good to be here.
We're coming up to the first anniversary of the Munro Global Growth Small and Mid Cap Fund. Nick, from your perspective, why was it important to launch this strategy as part of Munro's offerings?
Yeah, so Taylor, as you know, and as our clients know, Munro Partners is set up to be your global growth investor. So that means we do global equities and we do growth. And we've done that now for 8 years in our all cap mandates, i.e. the absolute return and the long only fund. About 3 years ago, we set up the Climate Enablers Fund, or the Climate Leaders Fund, to invest in the enablers of decarbonisation. And this was really a satellite strategy, really to identify an area where we wanted to improve our domain expertise, where we knew there was a big structural shift occurring and we wanted to improve our domain expertise, and that fund has since proved to be successful. So the Munro Small and Mid Cap Fund was really just an extension of that. We want to improve our domain expertise around these small cap companies and mid cap companies. We have the knowledge base because of what we know around the all cap strategy, and we wanted to improve that. Secondly, the timing was very good. These companies had not performed well for a long period of time, and we felt we were at the start of a large bull market. And so from that point of view, it was A, the right time to do it, B, we'd expanded the team size, and C, we wanted to get to know these companies much better because we thought there was a lot of really good opportunities there.
Qiao, from your perspective, with 12 months under your belt, do you think that you have fulfilled that?
I hope so. I guess I have pretty top graders in the room. But just from my perspective, I mean, just to Nick's earlier point, to run a small mid-cap fund and basically have more than 10 investment professionals picking ideas for a small fund, that's just a dream. I think most of the small cap funds probably have 1 to 2 investment professionals running it. So this, to have the team effort, to have the broader support of the firm, that has just been really awesome. To prove that the Munro investment process actually work with the a little bit more volatile small to mid cap companies in the space, that has been really satisfying and ultimately just been great fun. We've had lots of fun looking at these smaller companies, the small cap. Idea pitching sessions are a great fun, and then you definitely get more involvement from analysts and PM, and it's really a personal pride of myself to see that the small and mid cap fund really have the initials of every single investment team member next to it of the fund. So you really have a broad representation of the fund and a broad participation to run this together.
So I would love to do a quick fire, but Munro style. So how about I will mention an area of interest, and I would love to hear from your perspective, your favourite stock at the moment within that area of interest. It doesn't have to be a stock that we own now, just within Munro's universe. Qiao, I'll get you to do obviously small and mid caps, and then Nick, how about you do all caps?
Sounds great.
All right, so for the first one, can't go past high performance computing. Nick, you first.
Yeah, so I'll surprise everyone here and say NVIDIA. We've liked the company for a long time. We've said openly it would be the largest company in the world. It's nearly there today. The best companies in the world, the more you look at them, the more you like them. Very few companies manage to do that. Most of them, the closer you look, the more things you find you don't like. It's the opposite in NVIDIA. And if anything, despite the success we've had with NVIDIA today, we still see a long runway of growth ahead for the company. And so we're still firm believers in NVIDIA. It's still the largest position in the all-cap strategies.
And Qiao, high performance computing?
Yeah, I'll give you 2. One company is called Astera Labs, and this is a pure play AI high-performance computing company that really focused on doing one thing, which is connecting clusters of GPUs together that NVIDIA's made. So as we cluster more and more of these GPUs together, they just have to use a lot more of the different connecting devices. They have now about 4 to 5 of them made by Astera Labs. It's a new IPO. It's a small company, but it's a pure play AI connectivity. We really like that. We've also been talking about ASM International. There is quite a lot of debate right now around the broader, semi-cap equipment space, but we still really like ASM International. We think, broadly speaking, the development of leading edge continues, and this is one of the best, most pure play exposure that you can have in terms of leading edge foundry and leading edge logic manufacturing.
Awesome. Moving on, digital media and content. Qiao, kick us off.
So I'm going to pick Pinterest. So it's a little controversial, but Pinterest as a social platform went through quite a dramatic turnaround. It really went from sort of a darling back to getting a little bit older, and now it's actually back to being the social platform full of positive energy for Gen Z users. Pinterest also had a brand new management team that's put in a lot of different functionalities on the platform that make it much more shoppable. So for the first time, Pinterest is really positioning itself as a proper advertising platform for e-commerce, and the stock is very cheap. It's trading at less than 20 times PE multiple for a solid 15+% sustainable earnings growth. So really like that one.
Nick, digital media?
Yeah, in digital media, we'd along the same vein, we'd probably say Meta or Facebook. And Meta and Facebook have really pioneered what Pinterest is trying to do. So I agree with you. Pinterest looks like a really good opportunity here. But Meta is effectively invested in a lot of NVIDIA GPUs over the years. They've improved their recommendation engines dramatically. You can see that by your children not being able to put down the phone. And on top of that, they're potentially using their large language models to move into things like agents for people's websites or agents for people's social media platforms. So they're using a lot of these AI tools to A, make their recommendation engines better, but B, also be able to use the platform not just as social media, but more as an e-commerce platform and more as potentially as part of your customer service requirements for your business. And so from our point of view, that's accelerated the growth at Meta. The multiple is still very low, less than 25 times earnings. So that would be what we think is the all-cap winner here.
And security is an AOI that's kind of come up into our top exposure somewhat recently. Can you tell us maybe one of your favorite security stocks, Qiao?
Yes, I will pick Curtiss-Wright. So this is a company with a long origin. The Wright in Curtiss-Wright is actually the Wright brothers. So you cannot get all American than that. But Curtiss-Wright today is a defense company with a specialty with aerospace, but it also has a very hidden nuclear business. So it basically has 100% market share in the nuclear coolant pumps of all the nuclear reactors in the US. From a lot of work in climate and security, we know that a lot of these reactors are getting reopened and at least getting really large maintenance contract, and Curtiss-Wright is uniquely well positioned to really benefit from that.
And Nick, for you, security?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about a company that we found in the small and mid-cap strategy that we now own in both strategies, in the all-cap strategy as well, and that's Axon. So Axon's benefiting from the increasing spending around public safety because of social media to a certain extent, but also because governments like to be re-elected and mayors like to be re-elected. There is more money being spent on public safety, i.e. policing of our communities. Axon is a company that makes hardware and software to help police do their jobs better. So in the hardware case, they make tasers, for instance, which is a non-life-threatening form of de-escalating situations. They also make body cameras. These body cameras are very big in the US, but we now also see them here in Victoria and New South Wales. And so between these products, they're able to A, benefit from this increased spending because to make police do their job better, and B, there's sort of an AI angle because the cameras can effectively film what happens and then write the police report for you. Beyond this, they're going to move into things like drones. Drones are going to be used a lot more in policing, and they ultimately think you'll have as many drones as you have police cars. So Axon, about 26 billion market cap, found in the small and mid-cap strategy, now owned in both, and a company that we like in this security area.
Moving on to climate, Nick, what is your pick?
Yeah, hard to go past Constellation Energy. It's actually been our best performing stock this year. Constellation, for those who don't know, it owns existing nuclear power plants in the United States. We actually found this company for what I talked about at the start. We found it originally because we were putting it in the climate fund as a climate enabler. We originally thought that lots of companies would pay a premium for that carbon-free power, that carbon-free nuclear power, because Constellation was the largest source of baseload carbon-free power in the United States. That's when we originally bought it, and it was more than 2 years ago. What it's now become is all the things we thought it would, but on top of that, that's also baseload power to power AI. And what we're now seeing is these large hyperscalers like Microsoft and Amazon, etc., are buying, securing large capacity from Constellation and other nuclear generators and paying a big premium for that power. And that's obviously massively increasing the value of that installed base of nuclear. And the stock is, up more than 3 times since we bought it. And we still actually see significant upside ahead. So that's been our big winner in that space, and one we still really like, and one we wouldn't have found had we not increased our domain expertise by launching the Climate Fund.
And Qiao, what would be your stock pick for climate?
I have another example of a stock that we start doing work on because of the Climate and Decarbonization Fund. So that's been great. The stock is called Vertiv. And this was an old school industrials company really doing thermal and power management for mostly co-location data centers. And you can probably guess where the story is going. It got spun off from Emerson a few years ago and basically become this company that 80% of the sales come from data center. Obviously, the data center took a very dramatic uplift, and the modern day data centers tend to be more than 10 times more energy intensive than the old ones. So the thermal management and the power management really become mission critical. So they went from just one of the many equipment vendors to now one of the leading equipment providers. And even more exciting is when NVIDIA announced the next generation chip, Vertiv is a named partner on a very specialty cooling side called liquid cooling. So for all the hyperscalers that now want to build up large footprints of hyperscaler data centers, now Vertiv is a partner of choice. So we end up buying this company when it was still trading at fairly mundane, old industrial multiple, which is a really great place to be because all these, acceleration and growth is just a free option. Now that the stock has gone up quite a bit, we still think it has room to run just because the consensus earnings for this company is likely to be way too low.
And moving on to our last area of interest, innovative health. Nick, what's your pick?
Yeah, so from our point of view, we're still very happy with the GLP-1 providers. They've been in the fund for a while now, and obviously people are much more aware of Ozempic and Mounjaro and what these GLP-1s can do. Despite that, we still see a long runway of growth here. The one we like the most at the problem is Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly is obviously coming up behind Novo Nordisk, but ultimately we think has a better product and ultimately has a longer runway for earnings growth and margin growth. And I think the last thing I'd just say about the GLP-1s, and so yes, they're very well known and people understand the opportunity. I think as we go on, you're going to understand how more and more diseases can be, effectively solved by these products. So things like heart disease, things like hip replacements, etc. And so more and more insurers are going to cover these products because it's ultimately going to save them money down the road, which ultimately means we're probably only 3 years into what's going to be, an 8 to 10 year growth profile for these GLP-1 drugs, and Eli Lilly's probably our preferred today.
And Qiao, finish us off with your pick for innovative health.
Yeah, so broadly speaking, we're excited about innovative health as areas of interest, particularly at the current juncture where we think AI just starting to make changes in the industry, and we really think over the next decade you're going to see a lot of these innovative health companies to really benefit from the application of AI. So one of the examples we found was a small company called RatNet. It's based out of the US. It has been running just a chain of a couple of hundred imaging centers in the US for the past 40 years. The company has been around since the 80s. What you end up having is a large database of all these image scanning results. We end up developing a few of the AI algorithms that can basically, for some of the particular type of cancer, like breast cancer, it can detect cancer, roughly 18 to 24 months earlier than what a human radiologist can. So clearly for the mammogram testing that the women are going through right now, they're offering AI testing at additional cost. And then the take-up rate is already more than half of all the patients that walk through the center. So we thought that was a really interesting, again, almost a free option that you're going to see how AI is going to change the economics of this business. But the breast cancer scanning was just the start. They also will roll it out to lung cancer, to prostate cancer scanning, and eventually to a lot of the cardiology scanning as well. So lots of exciting things to come.
So Qiao, you are the lead portfolio manager in the small and mid-cap fund, and Nick, you are our CIO, but you do both work across all of our strategies, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So what we do at Munro is the investment team works across all 4 strategies, and ultimately we're just trying to pick great companies. So as a team, as we split down into people who build basically an investment case for an investment idea, and then follow that investment idea to its conclusion, which can either be a great result, an okay result, or a mistake that we need to remove. And we do that across every strategy. And so on the all cap strategies, Qiao is obviously working on many ideas that are in my funds, and I am working on many ideas that are in Qiao's funds, if that makes sense. And so from that point of view, that basically, as Qiao was pointing out before, builds the collaboration. It builds the collaboration around how is this actually going to play out and who are the big winners. And that's what we like to work on best, and that's why obviously having a SMID strategy has helped so much for all of us in the last 12 months.
And Qiao, just to end with you, what are you looking forward to for 2025?
Oh, if we just repeat all our performance in 2024, I'd be happy. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. And back to your earlier question also, Taylor, as a stock champion for multiple stocks in the main fund, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy still having the assets and the ability to work on ideas that I think can make a lot of money for the all caps investor. And just because you're a large company, I don't have to stop working on them. I can add value and pitch the stock and hopefully get included in the all caps fund. So that's been really fun. And obviously, it's a cheeky answer. As a small cap fund manager, it's awesome to have someone like Nick to pick a few stocks. I don't think anyone else in the country have that kind of assets. So that's been really good fun. 2025, we have a lot to look forward to. I think it's pretty consistent across the main fund and the small cap fund that we think 2025 is going to be the year of broadening out of AI. So we've actually generated really significant performance from high performance computing, from some of the sectors like connectivity that directly benefit from the build out of the AI and the large language model. And we really think as these models really gain more application and get used by different industries, you're going to see security, you're going to see climate and decarbonization, you're going to see healthcare really sort of step up, and we look forward to having more of those ideas in both the all caps and the small cap portfolios.
Thanks very much for your time today. I have loved all the insights, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you both achieve in 2025.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.